Kitchen sink.
Cool. You always say it so depressed.
He's always depressed.
Crawling in my skin.
Alright. Okay, you can start it whenever then.
Okay. Hello, and welcome to episode 28 of Bodied, the Cloud9 Fancast. Pew, 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 pew. Tonight we'll be discussing Cloud9's post-break performance in the Echo Fox and FlyQuest games, their matches for next week, as well as some fun chit-chat about other esports and stuff. I'm your host, Havokpus, and today I'm joined by...
Frozencreek. I'm still here. I haven't left. I have no reason to leave, but I haven't left. Still.
And I'm Ian. I'm still here as well. I haven't left, so...
We're all still here. Together.
The gang's all here.
As like the Three Musketeers, and I guess Pie's like the fourth one, but no one really remembers the fourth one.
Cloudsketeers?
Cloudsketeers, yes. That's a very... Quick! Someone make a picture of it.
A picture of what? My face and y'all? Like y'all's emotes?
Yeah.
And my dog.
Yeah, they'll put our profile pictures in with the picture. It'll be fine.
Oh dear God.
It'll be great. well, before we get right into talking about the matches of last week, let's do some minor business. Get out of the way. For other esports, CSGO sadly got kicked out of IEM Katowice at the group stages by Navi. It was very unfortunate and very hard to watch. So the question, and this can be really quick, it doesn't have to be a whole segment, but I'm just kind of asking our listeners, is it time for roster changes? This roster's kind of been together from the very beginning. We did get a new coach recently. I'm not sure how long he's been there, but we do have like a coach now, and then there may be some time to kind of let him, settle in with everybody. But what do you think? I'm certainly not sure because I'm not like a CSGO expert, but
Same.
Curious.
I'm not gonna pretend like I know all the answers because I don't watch a lot of CSGO, but this team has been slumping for how long now?
Ever since that Brazil tournament.
That was what, like 4 months ago?
Yeah.
I mean, maybe a coach will change, maybe give him a month or two, but if we don't get a lot better, then I think a lot has
Heads
to
will
be changed.
start to roll probably.
I would hope so.
Ian, you got any thoughts?
I don't know anything about CSGO, man.
Okay.
Like
fair
I'm
enough.
not even gonna pretend. Like
All right.
It's fun
if
to
I
watch.
say something, it's probably gonna be wrong. So
Yeah, fair enough. All right. Well,
So like
thanks for
all the time.
thanks for at least admitting it.
you know what I do know stuff about though? Smash
know about?
Bros.
Oh no.
Well,
Not much of a goat as he is, at least after Smash Summit, because
yeah,
Mango got kicked out of Smash Summit by Chudat.
the
Pi was
goat,
very distraught.
the kid, the Scorpion Master himself, got knocked out by the Icy's main Chudat. Got 4-stocked. Unlucky.
Oh.
It has not been a good year for Pi Magic Man and his fans, his fandom of things.
Yeah, Chudat and his signature winning move, where he puts his hand on his chin and just says, "Yas."
Yeah.
Really, or no, it's more like a yes. Yeah, it's a yes. It's not a yas. It's a yes.
Is
It's
that
like
what
the
he
most-
sounds like,
it's-
or Ice Climbers sound like?
No, that's what he does that
Oh,
whenever
God
he
damn it.
wins. He puts his like thumb and finger on his cheek. Is like yes. And it's like
Fucking
it's the worst feeling to lose too, because it's like you have to hear that right after you lose. But anyways, on to the real stuff.
onto League of Legends things.
The meat and potatoes.
Because that's really what most people are here for. That's what we know about. So So League of Legends for North America and everyone else now is on patch 7.4. Some stuff got changed, and I think it will make the game even more exciting because lots of stuff got nerfed. Yay! Edge of Night was hotfixed to have a longer item cooldown and less
Fuck
AD.
that item.
Yeah,
I'm
fuck
so
that item.
glad it's not.
It was
fucking
stupid
OP
broken
anymore.
when it had like 30 seconds and 60 AD. It's ridiculous.
Yes, the item was actually cancer.
You could just spam it, like, and
It was
every
up
time it
every-
goes off
it was-
cooldown.
It was up every minion wave.
Yeah,
And so you
it's
basically
ridiculously
got
dumb.
a free 10 seconds of hitting the tower because they
Yeah.
couldn't CC you. It was really bad.
Yeah, it's pretty dumb. Other things that got nerfed: Corki missile barrage damage.
Boo.
Maokai got nerfed.
On my only tank.
Lethality item numbers were changed a bit. I think most lethality items gave you like 20 in lethality. I think now they give you like 15.
Which is good.
A lot of the ferocity tree masteries were dialed down.
Yeah,
So
let's
I
make
guess-
ADCs even fucking worse.
Right? Like, come on.
Even worse than they already are.
Give me a fucking break, Riot. I did see that Ghostcrawler mentioned that the only way to fix ADC is to like introduce some items and do big item changes. So maybe
Yeah,
that'll
pretty
happen
much.
shortly.
Yeah, that's the only
Uh,
way they're going to be able to fix anything.
Season 8 maybe.
Oh, maybe. If I'm
Because-
lucky.
Maybe.
Because the mid-season update is tanks, right? It's like
Yeah.
Yeah.
Zach and Sejuani and...
Dude, once
Okay.
that once that Urgot rework rolls around though,
Oh yeah, when that worked.
it's gonna be
Oh
lit.
God.
Pew, pew, pew.
Did I main that champion
And
for like
Galio.
2 weeks back in the day? It was great.
I kind of want to.
It's fun until you realize that how like garbage he is once you face people that know what they're
I
doing.
played him once and he is awful.
No, I love
played
that
him. I played him
champion.
once. And I'm like, never again.
No, yeah, I like that champion a lot. It's just he's really bad, so I never actually play him in ranked. But anyways, he's not going to be relevant for a long time still.
Oh yeah,
so
of course.
I mean, we can move on.
Yeah,
from him.
the last thing that got nerfed is first brick is now only 300 gold, so it kind of delays the snowballing a little bit. Games kind of last a bit longer, stuff like that. As for buffs, there weren't a lot. Mostly it was adding a buff to fervor to make that a little stronger, and experience changes. If your team is behind in levels and your team gets a kill or an assist, you get more experience to kind of slingshot your way back into the game. So, you know, kind of allowing teams to kind of come back, putting more comeback potential into the game, which is good.
Yeah,
So,
that's pretty much it for the patch.
yeah, that's honestly it. Nothing too exciting or sexy.
What is
hey-
sexy though is C9
Yes.
going 4-0, not dropping a single game.
Yes.
Not for a lack of trying though.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, so it was actually a pretty exciting weekend, I think. Echo Fox, I think we looked better as a whole. I think we can probably just kind of talk about it spread out with Echo Fox and FlyQuest, because I think we did see a lot of improvement. Our early game looked a lot better. It was a lot more controlling, it was a lot more proactive, and it had a lot better vision control. And I think those things are really key, because we had like none of it for the past few weeks. And I think once we realized like, hey, we actually have issues, let's fix them.
Hey, these are important.
These are important things that we're not doing, and they look a lot better, I think.
Who
Especially
would've thought?
Contractz on Graves. His Graves actually looked like really good in the Echo Fox game.
Yeah, it was pretty impressive. I was a big fan. Like industrial sized.
Yeah, I think they did. Frozen, you want to say something?
No, I was just going to say that I didn't get to see them live. I saw them a little bit distracted after the
okay.
fact, so I don't have anything to add.
Okay. Yeah, but I was gonna say some of the games did play out like fairly slowly, and they kind of dragged on. But I think that was just because the enemy team comp was in such a way that you kind of had to play it really carefully. Because like looking at Echo Fox's in that first game, they had like a lot of wave clear.
Yeah, I mean, when you're facing Ari, Civ, or Karma, like you're not gonna be able to end that game.
Yeah, especially with
timely
Shen and
manner.
Rengar, who can like submarine you. Like you just have to play that careful.
Yeah, unless you're just gargantuanly far ahead. Gargantuanly, that's a weird way of saying that. Unless you're just massively far ahead to the point where you can force it, like dive them super hard, you're not going to be able to end that game without probably one or at least two Barons.
Yeah.
Because
But I
they
think-
can
I
clear the
think-
wave instantly.
Yeah, I think we do have to give them points for showing a lot of patience and a lot of fortitude.
Yeah.
Because like I think a lot of other teams would just kind of waffle and they would try to force something when they don't need to. And
Yeah,
we in Echo Fox and in FlyQuest we had really great scythe control management, so we could play things in kind of a slower, more controlled fashion and just kind of let the game play out naturally.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I think that that was definitely a big factor. I think that this week they looked a lot better in like coordination wise than they have over the past couple weeks. So I'm definitely
Yeah.
happy about that. Even if it did take them a while to close out some of their games, they did it in a manner that was organized and not almost throwing a game.
Yeah, I think in the FlyQuest series, I think they were a little too, maybe just a little bit too reckless with the contracts on Rengar, because how their team comp seems to be set up is you let Impact go in first and kind of pick somebody, and then contracts on Rengar jumps in and follows up like right after. But
Yeah.
they were playing it the reverse, where contracts goes in, gets chunked like super hard, and then Impact's like, oh, I'm here. And then they kind of mess up the play
Mm-hmm.
a little bit. But and outside of that, I think coordination definitely looked a lot better, at least from like the TSM Phoenix 1 week.
Yeah, game 2 was a little bit sloppy, I guess. But game
They did,
game
to
1
be fair,
was-
they did have like a lot of crowd control on
Yeah.
game 2.
Yeah, that's definitely a fair point. Game 2 was game 2 was a little sloppy, but game 1 was pretty clean. Like C9 didn't even lose any of their second tier turrets in that game. So it's
Yeah,
like,
they only lost like 2 tier 1s, right? They only lost like mid and bottom, I think.
yeah,
maybe.
they lost all their tier 1s. Or no, they only did lose 2 tier 1s. Yeah. Still had top tower.
Yeah, and they had, I think they really attacked FlyQuest's weakness of side lane management, because FlyQuest
Mhm.
seems to be a just fight, ARAM all the time kind of team and do these risky Baron calls and such, and we just kind of abuse that by, just get the side lanes pushing. They'll either have to go and answer them or try to fight us, lose, and then lose an objective or something.
Yeah.
So I think how we played around that and looking at that, I think that it's a lot better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can definitely agree with that. On a side note, looking at game 1 versus FlyQuest, Ninja Tabi is actually fucking disgustingly broken right now.
True.
When
Yeah.
3 out of 5, when the ADC is building Ninja Tabi, it's stupid. AD
Yeah, I've
carry should
seen-
not be building Ninja Tabi.
Yeah, I've seen so many AD carries, like even AD carries that would normally build Berserker Greaves, just build Ninja Tabi. I think didn't maybe Keith when he played Sivir maybe even got Ninja Tabi. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that.
Yeah, like Sneaky playing Ezreal got Ninja Tabi
Yeah, instead of Ionian Boots.
instead of Ionian Boots or even Berserker's Greaves for that matter. Like, he's playing an on-hit build and he didn't buy Berserker's Greaves. That's kind of fucked.
And it wasn't even in like an auto attack oriented comp from FlyQuest. Like Graves and Jhin are both limited to how many shots that they can take at.
Oh, well, it was versus the Ezreal game was. I mean, you're right in saying that it was Rumble, Kha'Zix, Orianna, Varus. Like, which is not an auto attack oriented comp.
Oh, okay. I was looking at
it's
at the
still
wrong game.
like your
I
point
think
still
he
stands.
built it in game 2 though.
He
Also.
probably did.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did. It's Ninja Tab. You're disgustingly OP.
I think I kind of like that as someone who plays AD carry. With the role right now, I want options, and I want to feel a little safer. So if I can feel just a tad safer, and I can have like, well, if you're gonna have a rough time this game, just build like a defensive boots like Ninja Tabby, and
you shouldn't be building Ninja Tabby whenever they don't even have like physical auto attackers on their team, though.
Yeah,
like
that's a good point.
the fact that you're building it in situations where it's not optimal, just means it's that good. Like, it's just OP at that point.
Yeah, that's also true. I'm not gonna refute that.
Yeah, but anyways, that's a different conversation for a different time.
Yeah. What do you think needs to be improved upon? Because we've talked about how they've improved. Oh, they look so much better. They're playing like a Cloud9 should be playing. What do you think needs to be improved? I think definitely team fighting position. Because like I mentioned with Contractz jumping in instead of when it should be impact, I think definitely the positioning and how people place themselves within fights and setting up for fights, I think could definitely be better.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, for like Contractz playing Rengar typically isn't an engaged champion. He's a follow-up engaged champion.
Yeah.
You want someone to go in, and then Rengar can go in, because that way they are distracted or CC'd, so they can't just blow him up instantly. Or he can get a really good flank off and kind of engage that way. But yeah, impact especially on a champion like Nautilus, as well as Camille. Those champions are like, you want to go, you hit the go button, and then you go, because you gap close so much, or you CC them so much. And so I really feel like they should almost always wait for impact to go in and then send everyone else in. They shouldn't be engaging without him ever, especially with a team comp with no tank jungler.
Yeah, there was even some instances, like if you watch the Reflections episode that actually just came out before we were recording this for the FlyQuest game, there was a few instances where impact was like, wait for me, I'm not there yet, but then Contractz just goes anyway.
Yeah, I think,
and he really just kind of messes things up.
I think a lot of that might be whenever you're playing a champion like Rengar, you kind of get in the mentality of, oh, I can kill them so fast that it won't even matter if you're ahead. Or it's like, this engage is too good to pass up, and so I'll engage early even though you're not here because the engage is so good. But almost all the times when you think that's not actually the case. It's like, you almost never can one-shot someone that fast, and you can almost never make up for a 4v5 with a good engage unless you land like a 5-man shockwave or something like that.
I think he actually could have, if it was Rengar from a few patches ago, when he had
as of
the
now,
CC
though.
immunity and stuff. But then they just completely lowered his numbers and everything. So yeah, he kind of was playing 7.0 Rengar.
Yeah, he might be stuck in that mentality a little bit.
Yeah. But I mean, sometimes it's 100% miss the shots you don't take, and maybe he just sees an opening.
Yeah,
but
I
don't know. We'll never really know for sure.
I would as a closing remark, I'll say I would rather have a jungler that is over aggressive and goes for plays sometimes that might not work out than a jungler that just sits and does nothing the whole game.
Yeah, because it at least shows he wants to do stuff.
Yeah, being
and,
proactive,
push the lead.
Yeah, being proactive and messing up every now and then, in my opinion, is much better than sitting back and not doing anything and just slowly losing the game and maybe getting a good engage, because that's what Cloud9's big weakness was in the early game, was they would sit and not really do anything. They weren't proactive, and so they would just slowly lose the game. And that's kind of the same thing for junglers. You can't be reactive as a jungler. You have to be proactive. You have to always be thinking ahead and what to do. So I would much rather have that than a super passive, just farm and try and counter engage kind of jungler.
Yeah, for sure. Frozen, do you have some opinions that you want to share? You've been fairly quiet.
Yeah, for me, I don't think a long game time is too much of a worry. I mean, I'm not saying that we're gonna win a Worlds or anything based off this fact, but I looked it up just for the hell of it. Cloud9 has the second lowest, second highest average game time in NA right now with 38.1 minutes, and SKT actually has average game time of 38.1 minutes. So I'm not saying, oh, we're gonna win Worlds, but I'm saying that if we're going to, oh, we have a really good chance now. But I just think that in FlyQuest, especially the second game, we forced a lot of things that we didn't have to. We kind of just were like, hey, we can fight, instead of like, hey, we can like pull a rotation or some kind of macro maneuver to get a tower or push our advantages around the map. And I think that's kind of been something that we've been doing a lot of the split, is just like, oh, hey, I don't know what to do, let's just fight, instead of like, hey, let's evaluate what we can do. And it's always just like, oh, hey, we can fight now, and taking a lot of 60-40 fights at best. But
Yeah, I agree with that. I think because you were saying long games isn't necessarily a bad thing, and there are also certain teams that are just inherently you're going to take longer against because they're really good at stalling out the game. And you mentioned SKT having like long game times, and that made me think recently SKT played versus the Jin Air Green Wings in LCK, and like Jin Air Green Wings, their signature playstyle is stall the game out to 50 minutes regardless of what you're doing. Like if you're ahead, stall the game. If you're losing, stall the game, and it's always a 50-minute game. And so even versus like SKT and like really, really good teams that will methodically strangle you out and in the game in the cleanest way possible, those games still go to 50 minutes versus the Jin Air Green Wings. So it doesn't, long game time doesn't always mean a poorly played game, because that's just how some teams will try to play, is to that long play style.
yeah, and a lot of our comps are comps that come up around 25 minutes or so. So we don't totally hit the gas button until then.
Yeah, I totally agree.
One other thing before we move on. I've harped a lot on Contractz, and I finally found something that is like a substantial or of substance, I guess. I watched specifically the Contractz game in game 2, or where he was a Rengar jungling into a Graves. I looked at a SKT match against Jin Air, where they had a Rengar into Graves. Almost their whole comp was like the same too, but Contractz it didn't hit level 6 until almost 8 minutes, when Peanut hit it at 640. So I looked at 5 or 6 other games to see when Contractz was hitting level 6, and he never hit level 6 up before 7 minutes. He was really close once, but it was normally like around like 720, 730. So he's hitting level 6 really late, and I'm not sure if that's in NA thing specifically, but I think that's something that can easily be practiced, because that's a lot of pathing issues.
Yeah, a lot of that is just figuring out where you're going to go and how you're going to play, and having your laners play according to that as well. Like having them either play safe or play aggressive in order to allow you to get that lead. So
yeah, in that one game, I specifically watched the first 6-7 minutes of. That was actually the game that Impact got first blooded at like a minute. So it was kind of thrown off a little bit. But he didn't get level 6 till almost 8 minutes, and it was not totally his fault, but he was pretty behind where you want your jungler to be, and it's hard to start making moves when your jungler depends on the level 6 and he's not getting it till so late.
Yeah, a lot of that is team coordination, so I think it'll get better over time.
All right, let's I'll move on.
All right. Well, a lot of good points, guys. Especially Frozen, keeping an eye on Contractz. I actually like that you are kind of keeping a close eye on him, because he is, like a rookie player, and seeing him kind of improve even in little ways is very important. So
I'm not saying he's bad, and I'm not saying he's doing bad. I'm just saying that I'm picking on him just because he's the one who's like a new guy, I guess.
no, yeah, that's perfectly understandable. You always kind of have to watch out for the new guy, because we all know the capabilities of our other 4 players. Contractz is still this new thing that we're kind of still getting used to.
Yeah.
But anyway, time for match preview. Time for the super fun part. Especially with this Team Liquid match, which is Friday, March 10th at 6
Dude,
p.m. Eastern.
What the fuck even happened to this?
Team Liquid pulled the rug out of all of us.
I'm like still in shock from not waking up, getting ready to go to bed, opening Reddit on my phone, and just getting slapped in the face with seeing Doublelift has joined Team Liquid.
Yeah, I
And Piglet's
quickly
going mid
hopped
still.
to get Doublelift on my fantasy team.
Yeah, I'm I'm baffled. I'm bamboozled.
So, Team Liquid's team is actually really interesting now. You have Lorlo in the top lane, Rainover in jungle. Piglet is now their mid laner. You're bringing in Doublelift to play for your ADC spot for the rest of the split. And you have Matt playing support with Adrian sitting on the bench ready to sub in for him. That's a really weird roster.
Adrian went oh no, yeah, I'm stupid. I was thinking Adrian went to P1. He went from P1 to Team
Yeah,
Liquid.
he went from P1
yeah.
to Team Liquid as like a support
backwards.
sub, I guess.
Yeah. Okay, so in theory, this Team Liquid roster should be amazing. But I've said that so many times before, like, oh, in theory, this roster should be good, and then
they just disappoint you.
Complete garbage. I honestly there's no possible way I can predict how Team Liquid's gonna look. They are the only team that can field a roster with incredible talent and still manage to fuck it up beyond belief. I think I said it, I don't remember where I said it, but I know that I said it somewhere, and it was Liquid could literally take Season 6 SKT, all the members of it, sign them all, and it would be Team Liquid. They buy all the players' contracts, and they would still be awful. Like, they would still manage to fuck it up somehow. It's just something about that team.
Yeah, I think at that point you just have to look at the organizational structure.
Yeah.
And just see how the team is being handled, and it's clearly not very well.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially, even just like, you have players like Arcsec and Fabi, and like other like players that they have kind of fielded in like the last bits of summer season 6, and that looked like a lot of really promising talent, and they just kind of go, no, we're sorry, we'll kind of put that out the window. Piglet's gonna play mid now, and it's just it's just kind of baffling how they've kind of handled their organization, and to the point where you have to bring in Doublelift to save your organization from potential relegation.
Yeah, that's how you know you've
you've hit rock bottom at that point.
Pretty far, yeah.
I don't even know where to like gauge my expectations going into this game, because
I'm not making predictions for this.
No, I don't think we can.
I straight up can't.
Because we've seen Piglet play mid for 2 games. Doublelift has not played a pro game in I don't know how many, like a few months basically, and they're going to have to like synergize with Doublelift, and Doublelift, his performance basically hinges on how well he plays with his support. Because we saw what happens when he plays with Yellow Star and Biofrost. Those are like two completely different double lifts.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting, that's for sure.
I don't think they'll be worse than Team Liquid with Youngbin. Was that his name?
Yeah, it's Youngbin.
Oh, yeah, no. I think they'll look better than that for sure.
But I mean, maybe come week 9 that this team might win a game, but I think that they got a week or two before that they can find a win, and there's no way that it should lose to these guys, though we almost did last time, so what do I know?
Yeah, do I think C9 will lose to Liquid? No. Do I think they have the possibility to lose to Liquid?
No.
Maybe.
I think so. I mean,
maybe.
I mean, I think we have the possibility to lose. Rainover, if Rainover actually has a good day and can
but he
actually
hasn't done
play
all
like
split.
he used to, he can do a lot of work. But we haven't really seen Rainover be Rainover lately, and it's really sad to kind of see.
Yeah. I think
Warlow,
C9.
what?
Oh, I was gonna say I think C9 outclasses every single matchup.
Even Sneaky versus Doublelift.
Yes, because it's a duo lane. Like
Oh,
our bot
that's
lane
very
as
true.
a whole outclasses their bot lane.
And it's his first week back. It's not like this is
Yeah.
9-week or playoff TSM.
Yeah, he's probably had a week of scrims. I think at the least, maybe 2.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, he probably hasn't been shit on by Q to D Pi in a while either. But we'll come back to predictions later. Let's move on to CLG.
Yeah, CLG, a much more stable matchup. I think we have this one in the bag, to be perfectly honest.
Can I say something super quick?
Yeah, go
Okay,
ahead.
I'm gonna make a formal apology to all the to all the CLG fans for all the mean things that I said about Huhi, because he's been super good. Okay,
He's improved a lot.
he's looked really good this split, so I take it all back.
Yeah, well, thanks for being the bigger man, Frozen. You've said what a lot of people could not say. But I think we have this game in the bag more or less. I think Impact completely outclasses Dark Sean. Xmithy has looked awful in the jungle. He has really been struggling. And we have Contractz, who has really no problem with being kind of aggressive and, going in. Jensen and Huhi's looked a lot better, but I think if it's just a pure lane matchup, I think Jensen can beat him, and our bot lane is super tight. So I think just purely on that, lane versus lane, role versus role matchup, I think we should win.
I think CLG's bot lane is better than C9's.
Oh, really?
I think Sneaky is the best AD carry in North America, followed by Arrow, and then possibly Sneaky.
Stick say as you mean?
Yes.
Yeah, I think you said Sneaky twice.
Wait,
I
I
think
said
so too.
What? Okay, no,
Yeah.
Sneaky. Oh yeah, I said Sneaky. Stixay number 1, Arrow number 2, Sneaky number 3.
That's
I think I'm inclined
that sounds like a pretty
to
fair
agree with-
assessment.
Yeah, I think I'm inclined to agree with that right now. Maybe Wild Turtle at 3 too.
People have been saying that Afromu's shot calling and everything has looked really shaky lately, and his performance has not been what Afromu of the past has been.
Stixay's been a fucking god though.
Stixay is really good. He's a very good mechanical player.
He is, yeah, he's extremely good mechanically, and he is super consistent. Like he's kind of what we came accustomed to expecting from Sneaky. It was just like extreme consistency. He's always good every single game. So that's like, I think Stixay right now is by far, maybe not by far, but like a very convincing argument for best AD carry in North America. And due to that, I think that their bot lane is a little bit better than C9's. Not by a ton, because Smoothie is
Smoothie
excellent.
is. I think
Smoothie makes up for C9 or Sneaky's, like being a little bit weaker.
Yeah. I think everyone kind of writes off Smoothie. I think just because he's kind of a support player, and he doesn't get like all the big kills. But I think not only just his play in general, because his mechanics are really good, and he can play almost anything it seems. But just the shot calling and the in-game leadership that he provides us as a team, I think that's just something you can't really measure because that's such a valuable asset.
Yeah, for sure.
But what do we watch out for in this CLG game? What are the factors that we'll have to be careful of? I think definitely picks and bans, because Huhi has some pocket picks that he's just really good on.
Don't fucking let that dude play Aurelion Sol. Holy shit.
It's his one trick, basically.
Do
if
not
you give
give
him that,
him
the game is over.
the Star Dragon. Because he will bend you over and shove all 3 of his stars up your butt. And it will not be fun.
Yeah, for sure. I think for sure get him off the ASOL. Put him on something that's standard that you know how to play the matchup into. Maybe ban out Orianna as well, because we've kind of struggled with Orianna. I think just the team fights get kind of chaotic, and it's hard to keep an eye on the ball.
Yeah, Sneaky's had a bit of a hard time versus Orianna.
I
don't know about the rest of the team.
He knows that, though. I think that it might have just been a last week thing.
Yeah. I think another aspect to keep in mind, at least mentally, they got crushed by TSM. So what does that like do to their mentality? Are they more nervous coming into C9 since they are tied with TSM for first, and they don't want to have a repeat, so they're kind of struggling?
Nah, I don't think so. CLG
okay.
doesn't seem like the kind of team that is like super heavily affected by that. They seem to be a really like game to game team. Like they take it one game at a time.
Yeah. I mentioned that just because it seems like a really big factor into like your next week's performance. Like, you know, you got beat really hard. Can they recover? You know, to me it seems like a really important factor.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. They played TSM and P1 last week, and I'm pretty sure they won versus P1. Yes, they did win versus P1, and they played pretty well versus P1, I think. So it's like they did lose to TSM, but they also won somewhat convincingly over P1. So they have that like that bit of confidence going for them, because P1 is not a bottom tier team. So
okay, all right, I guess that makes sense. Yeah. Frozen, do you have any thoughts on the CLG match?
I'm just interested to see what CLG brings game plan wise, and how Cloud9 can prepare and react to it. I think that there were some times that CLG has looked good coming in to like a game with a game plan, with like a specific game plan, and I'm curious to see how Cloud9 is going to react to it, or try and scout it out beforehand and ban out Aurelion Sol.
I will say, anytime that Cloud9 plays CLG comes to play. They don't half-ass it at all. And they always seem to play like one level above whenever they play like against TSM or Cloud9. So I'm expecting a really fun series, especially because CLG, they seem to never let up against us. So
yeah,
it should be pretty exciting.
I'm excited for this week. I think both series are definitely going to be worth a watch.
Yeah, for sure. I didn't mention when the game came on. Sunday, March 12th, 3 p.m. Eastern. There we go.
Cool.
Yes.
Okay, so for like a little discussion this week, after listening to a bunch of podcasts this past week, I guess March is like a podcast month for trying to get people to listen to podcasts. So on Twitter and other social medias, people are using the hashtag tripod, TRYPOD, and NPR actually had a bunch of stats about it. So I wanted to just spend some time and talk about podcasts in general, just because it's something that we do, and it obviously affects us. So I'll let Ian go first, talk about some podcasts that you partake in, and about some of your other league-related podcasts or esports-related podcasts.
Do they have to be like esports related, or can I just throw out some podcasts that I enjoy?
Start out with esports, and then I will transition to other ones afterwards.
Okay. So my esports podcast that I will throw out there with no shame, throwing out the plug.
Shame.
I am also on a podcast called the LCS Rundown. It is part of a podcasting network called the Trinity Force Network. And what we do is we each week review all the LCS teams, both NA and Europe, and we go over what the week looked like, how they did that week, and it's basically one big review of League of Legends that week. And it's super cool, super fun. We all have a great time. There's a bunch of us, and it's really, I enjoy podcasting it. I was a long-time listener before I got onto the podcast, and so I really enjoyed it. Bunch of great guys on there with me, and it's usually around an hour and a half. That's what it's been looking like this season, is an hour and a half is the average time. So if you have some time to fill, like driving to work or whatever, check that one out. It's a good time, and I think you'll probably enjoy it.
I will say, I think it was this past episode, Ian plays the trombone for everyone, and
yeah.
it seems on every episode that they make fun of some guy named Blake.
Oh, okay. So Blake is like, he's like the jokester of our like podcast. He's really funny. He always makes all the jokes. And then I did play my trombone because I play trombone. My name on Reddit and like all my I don't really have a whole lot of social media, but like on Discord and Reddit and all that, like my name in League is that trombone guy. And one of the guys on there was like, "How'd you get that name?" And I was like, "Well, you see, I have this thing here called the trombone, and I've played it for about 10 years now, so that's where I got that." And they told me to play something, and so I did. They wanted me to do the wah 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 wah, that thing, and I'm like, sure, why not? I've definitely never been asked to play that in my entire life before. But I digress. That was a little bit off topic.
I'm a fellow brass player, or I was, so I know all about that. What are some other podcasts on Trinity Force Network that people listening to this might enjoy?
Okay, so they have a ton of other podcasts. I know off the top of my head there is the main Trinity Force podcast, which is called it's just called the Trinity Force podcast, which is like general league related stuff. Like they go over patch notes, they go over the state of the game. They don't go over LCS because that's the LCS rundown's job, but they go over like champions, who's strong, who's weak, items, patches, and just general League of Legends talk. And that one's really great. They have also the Four Wards podcast, which is a like beginner friendly podcast. It's really about teaching you how to play the game, and they'll go over like specific things like laning and like CSing and all that, really basic stuff. They also have a bunch of other ones. They have a Hearthstone podcast called Hearth of the Cards. They have a general gaming podcast called T-Force GG. They have an Overwatch one called Into the Iris. They even have a tabletop one called It's a Long Time. So they have quite a slew of podcasts out there if you're interested in any of that. Be sure to go check them out because you'll probably enjoy it.
All right. Havokpus. We'll transition to general podcasts. Are there any podcasts that you listen to and generally enjoy?
Um, Not really. I'm really bad at keeping up with podcasts. There's the Funhouse podcast. I listen to that one. Uh, Funhouse it's kind of like Rooster Teeth, but it's a different group of people, and they do their own thing, and their videos are a lot different. I think they're a lot funnier than the Rooster Teeth people. I like their personalities a lot more, and they have their own little podcast. It's more talking about like subjects and things that happen in the video game industry, and their discussions are always really fun to listen to. And they're always really interesting. I just really enjoy that. So check out the Funhouse podcast if you're interested.
All right. Ian, what are your favorites?
All right, my two non-league related podcasts that I'm gonna throw out there is one is the WAN Show podcast, which is done by Linus Tech Tips. I'm sure some of you have heard of him on YouTube. It's basically like a weekly general tech podcast. They talk about anything that's been released, like technology wise lately, or any news in that sector. And it's a super fun podcast to listen to. Both the guys that do it are pretty smart. And I'm also going to tell everyone to listen to Dan Carlin's Hardcore History.
Ah, you stole
that
it.
podcast. That's well. Why don't you talk about that one then, if you were going to say that?
I mean, I don't want to talk too much about it. I guess about Hardcore History is easily the best podcast out there. Like, even if you're not a history buff, if you listen to one episode, you will be. He's really good at bringing stories to life, and I know if you ask an actual historian, they might not be like too impressed, but he's telling these stories for like a general audience, and he's done them on so many things. Let me look in his feed really quick to see which one you can get for free. That's super good right now. Prophets of Doom is really good, so I would recommend that one to anyone.
Yeah, I really like the way he tells the stories, because he likes to put a really modern spin on the way he tells it. He'll talk a little bit about, say, I think the first one I heard, or the first one I listened to, was World War I, and the thing that really got me hooked on it was he was talking about how the Archduke Franz Ferdinand was assassinated and how that really kicked everything off, but he was also talking about how that would how that would work in modern times, or how all of that would affect things if something similar to that happened, like in present day America, which is a really cool thing to think about, and it really gets you thinking, and it really gets you engaged in the podcast, because it's very relatable, because he talks a lot about modern day things that are happening, and so that's really what got me hooked into it.
Yeah, I've listened to all the episodes on there a couple times, and I bought a bunch of them, so I highly recommend. Other podcasts I listen to is called The Dollop. It's a comedy history podcast. Some other ones I really like. If you like politics, NPR Politics podcast is super general and friendly. If you want something vulgar, listen to The Bone Zone. I can go on forever. I'm subscribed to like 15 different podcasts, but I won't talk at length about them. So
also,
we need to close.
If you just need something to fill, like if you have like an hour commute to and from work every day, Hardcore History will fill that very easily. Some of the episodes are over 5 hours long.
Or yeah, every episode he's like, I was trying to make a short episode, and then it was like 6 hours long. And you're like,
yeah, they're
I'm
very,
okay with
very
that.
long episodes. So you
It's
will be
way
able
worth
to
it,
fill plenty of time with that if you're looking for something to just fill time with.
well worth a listen. So
Well-
saying that, if you like our podcast, retweet us with the hashtag tripod, tripod, TRYPOD.
Yes. My favorite podcast of all, though, is Body, the Cloud9 fan cast. Because
Hell
I'm
yeah.
in it. I didn't want to mention that, though. That felt a little too self-serving.
Dude, give us those like comments and retweets and stuff and be like, yo, play the trombone for us. And that'll be like, dude, come listen to this podcast. This guy plays the trombone on it.
Yes.
I'll break out guitar and play too.
Oh, I like it.
I can't play anything. Yay.
And no comment.
You can play League of Legends.
Not even... I play Zelda now. This is my life.
You're a Zelda main now.
I'm a Zelda main now.
Feels Switch, man.
Well, I guess we should be closing
Oh.
out.
Okay. Who wins in Europe this week? The dumpster matchups.
Oh boy!
Oh, Origin versus Vitality?
Rocket.
No talking about
Rocket
it.
versus Giants?
No
No, it's
talking about
Rocket
it.
versus
Who
Origin.
wins?
Oh,
Don't talk about it. Just who wins.
Nobody wins.
we all lose.
I'm tuning in.
I would say, who is it? Rocket in Origin?
Yes.
I would say Rocket, because Origin has no chance. They have looked completely awful.
I think what I said last time they asked me this question was I said that humanity wins because this matchup will allow doctors to research it and find the cure for cancer because it'll cause so much cancer. And
Oh,
so
God.
the whole of humanity will benefit since doctors will
Pulling
find the
no
cure to cancer
punches
by
in that
using
answer.
by using this match
They
as
have
research.
families, Ian.
All right. Winding it down.
Alright, yes.
Origin loses both times.
I want that to happen just so Nahun will have 0 wins ever.
They have to keep the meme alive.
I know,
They
dude.
just
It's
have
for the
to.
memes.
They just have to.
Like I feel bad, but it's like it's for the memes, dude. You have to. It has to be this way.
Exactly.
It's like Liquid getting 4th.
Right?
It just has to.
It just has to. It's the law. Meme law. Alright. Let's finally wrap things up. What are you guys' predictions for this weekend? Starting with Frozen.
What we should do is a 4-0 weekend again. We're probably gonna manage to make it a 4-1 weekend. I say we drop a game to Team Liquid.
Alright, that's a fair prediction. Ian, what about you? Are you going to even try and predict the Team Liquid
Fuck,
series?
dude. I don't even want to talk about Team Liquid because I'm just gonna embarrass myself. That team is unpredictable. That is the definition of unpredictable. Is that team right there? So like, I guess I'll say 2-0 over Liquid just because, in theory, that's what should happen. So I'll do the safe pick. I think we might drop a game to CLG. So I'll say 2-1 CLG and 2-0 Liquid.
Alright, I'm gonna go super safe and just go 2-1 for Liquid and CLG. I think we can definitely beat both of them. We may end up dropping games, especially I think probably to Liquid more than CLG, I think, because their roster now has a lot of unpredictability and untestable variables and such. So that could maybe bite us just out of lack of information.
That's fair.
But yeah, that's mine. Do you guys have any moments of the week?
I'm saying it preemptively. I'm gonna say that someone gets a pentakill this week against Origin
Oh shit.
and a
That's
dumpster
bold.
fire. So when that happens, that's my moment of the week.
The
happens
preemptive
at
moment of the
Baron.
week.
Baron gets a pentakill.
Baron gets a pentakill.
The Baron is the winner in that series.
Hungry Baron Nasher. For me, moment of the week, besides playing Zelda Breath of the Wild, which is fantastic, by the way, I would probably have to say, actually, there was actually a pretty slick play that Contractz did. It was in the Echo Fox series that Cadian was like walking up through the brush. Contractz catches him out and kills him, and then smoothly transitions into taking an Infernal Drake. It was just like the slickest play.
I saw that. That was awesome.
It was so smooth because it was all like one fluid, like objective taking. It was crazy.
Yeah, that was pretty great to watch. It was like, huh, well that works.
Yeah, it was really weird to see, but at the same time, just like, oh wow, we actually get both things.
Yeah, exactly. It's the best of both worlds.
But do you have any moments of the week?
Well, I finished almost all of my midterms. I have one more coming up tomorrow in music theory, but other than that, I'll just say finishing my midterms. It's my moment of the week because I have spring break next week, so that'll be nice.
Spring break, woo.
So that is mine.
Yep. I think that's about it. So yeah. Thank you everyone involved for listening to the 28th episode of Bodied, the Cloud9 Fancast. Feel free to tweet questions and feedback to us at C9Bodied or email us at bodiedfancast@gmail.com. We'll totally answer your questions, so give it to us.
Dude, ask us all the questions.
Yeah, all the questions.
Ask us everything. Ask us stupid questions that don't have anything to do with League. We'll still answer them. Just ask us something.
We're really bored and lonely, especially me.
Yeah, only him.
Yeah. Also, check us out on iTunes. We're there as well if you want to keep up with us on a regular basis. That's about it. So thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time. Say goodbye.